very much for agreeing to do this chat with me.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah.
Very much appreciated. Big fan of the show. I've been for many years. And you were my favorite character in there by a million miles. You were fantastic. So yeah, if you're ready, we'll start with the 10 questions, which I've got for you, if that's okay, Chris.
Of course.
Absolutely fantastic. So, like I said, these questions have been chosen by the Goodnight Sweetheart fans that follow the page. So these are questions that basically everyone's dying to ask you. So question number one basically is, how did you actually end up getting the role as PC Reg Deadman?
Well, my agent at that time was actually very good friends with the casting director. And she put me up for it, and it was agreed by the casting director that I was a good idea, to go up for it. So I did have an advantage because they were Lawrence and Morris were not giving out any script, but my agent, bless her, because she was good friends with the casting directors, got her to send me the first script, which I studied, to within an inch of its life. And so I went into my first meeting, which was with the producer, John Bartlett, and the director, and I knew it really well. Of course, I didn't let on that I knew it really well. I read it, and then I had a meeting with Lawrence and Morris, and got it. So that's how it happened, really.
Absolutely brilliant. Was there anyone else in the running for Reg Deadman,
Sure, I expect so, but I have no idea who. So
I don't think anyone else could have played that character as well as you, Chris. Absolutely fantastic. You did the role justice, and it was fantastic to watch you for so many years.
Thank you.
What was it actually like then on the first day of filming?
Well, yes, I see that question. It's kind of, I don't quite understand what you mean by that, because basically the way we used to do it was that it was a sort of hybrid between theatre and TV. So basically, they were filmed in the studio with a live audience, but we rehearsed for a week before that. So what does the question mean? Does it mean, what was it like when I got to the studio, or what was it like first day of rehearsal?
Yeah, so what was it like when you first obviously met everyone for the first time in rehearsals and obviously went through everything? What was it like?
Oh, well, it was great. Of course, it was, slightly scary. Not knowing any of them, and feeling quite, well, this is a bit special, and just so nervous.
Yeah.
But I think everybody was feeling pretty much the same, and it was okay. It was in a very unprepossessing. I think it was in a combined cadet force hall or something. Really not very glamorous at all. But and all the furniture was laid out for the bar in the Royal Oak. And I seem to remember we read it, and then we just immediately started putting it on the floor, just making it work.
Absolutely fantastic, brilliant. So as character, obviously you came up to play Reg Deadman that specific way in which you did fantastically. Did you bring any of yourself into that character? Is there any similar traits you and actual Reg Deadman have?
That's a good question, but I hope not. In a way, as much as I love him, he's a dear man. I hope I have as big a heart as he has, but I hope I'm also a hell of a lot brighter than him, and a bit more savvy, and so he wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer.
No,
Reg. Yeah, his heart. I hope I have his heart.
His heart, brilliant. That's the best thing you can have, because Reg Deadman did have a fantastic heart. I remember the episode. I don't know if you remember it very well, but the episode of the watermelon episode when Reg is basically talks about he's gone really old. I think he's suffering with dementia. and Gary goes and sees him. And it's very, I think it's very, quite a touching moment seeing Reg in that state and talking about Margie. And it was a real moving scene. I remember quite a few people comment on it when they talk about, whenever we post about yourself on the page, they always talk about that moment. It's either that moment or Deadman of the Yard. It's either one of the two moments in which people mention. But that moment where you played an older Reg and kind of gone a bit, obviously losing your memory and stuff, that was quite a touching moment for a lot of people. But right, so moving on to the next question. What was your favourite scene that you acted in Goodnight Sweetheart? Now I know that this is probably a very tough question because you were in every episode.
No, I was in. I think we did 6 for the first series, and I think I was only in 4 from memory.
Yeah.
After that, I was in most of them. Yeah, I think I might have missed 1 or. No, I think it was a deal in the contract that I'd be in every episode. So somehow or another, I was in every episode. But favorites. Well, funnily enough, I thought about this, and that one that you mentioned about when Gary comes to realizes that that Reg is potentially still alive in the 90s and goes to see him. I loved that. That was great. And goodness me, the makeup for that, I was hours in the makeup. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I enjoy, as an actor, I just really enjoy transforming. So it was great to do that. Yeah. And there's a couple of other episodes as well that come to mind where one was, I don't know where it was in the series, but I had this scene where I taught Gary how to have a conversation, because Gary was a bit, he was in one of his fairly regular depressed states, from coming back and forth across the time zone. And he was a bit monosyllabic, so he wasn't good at having conversations. So I taught him how to have a conversation. But basically, he'd say something, and I'd say something, and then I'd go, yeah. And then he'd have a go. I tried to teach him how that in a conversation you take turns. And, so that was very enjoyable. And there's another one that pops into my mind where somehow or another we were being detectives. We were trying to trap somebody, and I can't remember how it was. I know it was one of those scenes that we didn't do in front of a live audience. We did it. We filmed it on the day, but before the audience came in, and I was in disguise, and I had these very thick glasses on, and I thought, well, this would be quite funny if I really can't see through these thick glasses. So in rehearsal, I had to try and touch Gary's face to make sure where he was and that it was him. So, which made us both laugh a lot.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that episode very well. It was the one where you win the bookies, and Gary's trying to place his bets illegally, obviously already having the results from the future.
Oh, yes.
And you was in there as obviously a policeman in disguise. If I remember correctly, it was the episode where obviously you'd had the bang on the head and you turned intelligent due to the bomb going off.
Okay.
That was that episode, yeah, because you were intelligent because you were employed by Scotland Yard at the time.
Right.
Reg was employed by Scotland Yard, so he was in there. And I remember him saying something, you can't do that to me. I'm from Scotland Yard. And then someone turns around and bashes you over the head, and then you end up going back to your silly, lovable self again.
Okay. I just don't remember that bit at all. But...
Well, you're in that many episodes. It's probably hard to keep track of them all. One of my favourite scenes with you, and it was when Gary goes further back in time and he meets Reggie's granddad or Reggie's dad, and he was a policeman back in the Victorian age.
Yes.
That was a fantastic episode.
Was that the Jack the Ripper one?
Yes, that was the Jack the Ripper one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
It was Jack the Ripper coming out into Gary's shop and getting run over by a double-decker bus. Was a fantastic way. But yeah, no, brilliant. Yeah. So speaking, obviously we've got to talk about the main man in the actual show, Nicholas Lyndhurst. What was it like working alongside Nick?
Well, I have to say, I'm really not. I'm really not trying to make anything brighter than it was, but it was absolutely fantastic working with Nick. Absolutely brilliant, because he was clearly the star of the show, and he could have been very starry, but he absolutely wasn't. I mean, Nick's whole ethos was to make the show funny, to make it a good show, have good scripts. If there's anything wrong with the scripts, try and fix them, but to have a good show that was funny. And the thing was, he didn't care who got the laughs, so long as there were laughs. They didn't have to be his laughs, they could be anybody's laughs. And so, what would often happen in rehearsal, he would say, "Hey, Chris, why don't you try such and such, such and such? There might be a laugh there." And it'd be my laugh.
Yeah.
And the other thing that would happen a lot, which was great, that, because I was quite creative too, I'd come up with something in rehearsal and I'd just try it in a rehearsal of the scene. And he would just laugh. He just wouldn't try and keep it together. He'd just laugh. He'd say, "Yeah, that's brilliant. Let's keep that." So there was a lot of that went on. So it was a joy working with him, and he was generous to a fault. A private man, you never kind of really got to know him. So I never went out to dinner or for a drink with Nick, but working together in the rehearsal room, it was joy. Yeah.
I'd say it was fantastic to watch you and Nick performing together on camera. You just seem to bounce off each other. Any scene you're in together, especially the emotional scene where Reggie's retirement do, where no one turns up, and then Nick ends up turning up, and you both end up doing the hokey cokey. Scenes like that just make the show, and it was fantastic. And I think that's why everyone loves Reggie, such a lovable character. But his on-screen play with Gary. I think that it just worked. You two just bounced off each other as actors, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic to watch. But it must have been. Were you a fan of Only Fools before, or had you watched Only Fools before?
Yeah, I've watched. I can't say I religiously watched every episode, but I certainly watched episodes of it. Yes.
Yeah, it's probably quite nerve-wracking. Someone that's caliber, you thinking, right, I'm going to have to work alongside this guy now. But
absolutely, yes, absolutely. And he just made everything really easy. He as clearly as the leading man, he took that responsibility to make everybody comfortable.
Yeah.
Or guest artists who came in, were made to feel very comfortable, I hope.
Yeah, fantastic. And the show itself was a massive success. Did the success of the show surprise you at all? Like, obviously when you were filming and obviously the episodes are going out, did it actually surprise you that how much people loved it?
I don't know. I don't know, Callum. I remember working on the first episode and thinking, well, this is good stuff. And I remember having a conversation with Maurice Gran during that rehearsal period, saying, "Well, Maurice, what are your thoughts about this? What are your intentions?" Because there was me thinking, is this going to go on? Is there going to be another series? And he said, "Oh, Chris, we're going to go right the way through the wall with this." I thought, okay, and that's exactly what they did. We did a series for each year of the wall.
Yeah. Which
so I think after the first one came out, I thought, oh yeah, this is okay, and it's going to go on, and it did. Although, of course, in that first series, I never knew whether my character was going to be an ongoing character, because what became clear was that there were two older men in that first series. There was me and David Ryle playing Phoebe's dad. And what sort of became clear, I think maybe clearer to Lawrence and Maurice than to me, was there wasn't room for two old kids, basically. And so one of us one of us had to get killed off. Unfortunately, it wasn't me. It was poor David.
Yeah.
I remember the line in the second series, and all that was left was the back of his hand.
That's it. That's 100% spot on. I mean, he was fun. I thought he was great in series one. I think he was quite a funny character as well. I think he was, but he had an aura about him, didn't he? Like when he was on the screen, it was like, oh god, here he is. You don't know what he's going to come out with next. You don't know whether he's going to like Gary, he's going to dislike Gary. You know, if he brought him some bananas and some cigarettes, and obviously then he's his friend. But I thought he was fantastic at that part.
Yeah, he's a great actor, David. Yes. No longer with us, sadly. But
yeah, very rest in peace. But now the show itself, do you feel like it ran its course? Obviously, you came back in 2016 for episode 1 of season 7, which went down an absolute hit. It was fantastic. People were shouting from the rooftops for more episodes. Do you feel it run its course? Do you think that should ended in that scene with Gary on the piano playing Adele? Or do you think there was scope to go on further?
I think they were right to finish it.
You do?
It was running out. Well, basically, it had fulfilled Lawrence and Morris's wish to run it right the way through the war. And it was the end of the war. And there was sort of, certainly in the 40s, there was sort of nowhere really still for it to go. And certainly in the 90s, the relationship with Gary and Yvonne was ending, so there wasn't really anywhere else for it to go. But also, of course, to answer your question, I had such a good time on that series, as did we all, and thought, well, it'd be great if we could carry on. But the other thing was also, I think the last series was getting a bit bizarre, some of the stuff that was happening with the time travel stuff. It was just, I think they were running out of ideas, really. And I think we all thought, and I think particularly Nick thought, no, time to stop.
Yeah.
But going back to the 2016 thing, I mean, that was different. We did that, and it was just like stepping straight back in. It was just a pure joyous week, and it was. We were all gutted that it didn't get picked up, I have to say, because Lawrence and Morris had clearly written that episode with a view to taking it forward to in the what it was then 60s. There was the whole dilemma around the Beatles songs, and how that would get dealt with. And then back in the present, he has a daughter. Suddenly, so there was a series there, definitely, but the BBC didn't pick it up.
And I don't know if you're aware, but I created one many years ago. Petitions. There's quite a few petitions to get it recommissioned for at least another 5 episodes. That people were screaming for it because it did that episode because the writers are so good at what they do. It just left so much scope. Like obviously, like you said, Gary having a daughter, and it opened everything up to be another 5 episodes. And I think they could have done that. It's a shame. People are still.
I think I know why. Money.
You think?
Yeah, money, because it was an expensive series to shoot. You look back to those episodes in the first 6 series. You look back at the 1940s in particular. Those scenes where you've got 20, 30, 40 supporting artists, all who had to be costumed and be wigged and made up, and sets. It was expensive.
Yeah.
And Lawrence and Morris were determined that it was not going to look cheap. And I think that's why it didn't happen. Accountants, basically.
It's a shame. Whether it was finances, whether it was the BBC, whatever it was as to why it didn't go ahead, it is a shame. And I still hold out hope, me personally. I don't know about yourself, Chris, but I know myself
Yeah.
and a few others still hold up a little bit of hope. But
I
that
think
hope,
I think the time has passed now. You know, it was perfect then. 2016 was perfect because we latched up well with the 60s, you know, and the Beatles, and it was. I think it's gone by now.
yeah.
And we're all getting old. No, I'm 72 now.
You don't look it, Chris. I tell you that. You really don't look it. You look just as young as you did in the first episode of Goodnight Sweetheart. But so going back to the last episode of Series 6, where obviously Gary gets stuck in the past. When did you as cast first hear that was the decision? Gary was going to be stuck in the past. It wasn't going to be the future, the present. And do you think that was the right decision?
First ever rehearsal.
Wow.
Which was well, it might have been a few days before. It might have got the script a few days before that. I'm not absolutely certain, but around about then. I think Nick might have known before then, but I certainly didn't. We knew it was going to be the last episode. You know, and do I think it was the right decision? Oh, yes, absolutely. If he was, he needed to be stuck somewhere. And if he'd been stuck in the 90s, that would have been in 1999, that would have been appalling for everybody, really. So yeah, it's the right choice. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees. I think being stuck in the past was the correct decision. That one scene where it's obviously it's VE day and you roll out of the pub drunk and stumble across Gary in Duckett's Passage, and Gary's obviously sat there, and it's the first time he's realised he can't get through, and he can't get back, and you were like, obviously you can't go back, it's a dead end. And I thought it was a fantastic piece of writing and a fantastic line, and I think you played a fantastic drunk Reg Deadman. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. One of the best moments is someone's told me to mention it to you that they absolutely loved was the knees at Mother Brown when the Americans come in, the Yanks are coming, which was my favorite episode. That was fantastic. And you drunk doing your knees at Mother Brown and then collapsing backwards. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I mean, what have you actually been up to then since Goodnight Sweetheart?
Well, Callum, you gave me fair warning of that question. And I had a little look. I went onto my Spotlight page. And you know, since Goodnight Sweetheart finished, I've done 41 shows. And that's not including the things that I've directed as well. So I've done a lot. I made a note. I'm not going to go through all 41, but I'll give you some highlights. So basically, a real mix of TV and theatre, but mostly theatre, I have to say, mostly. And but some TV stuff. I did A is for Acid with for Yorkshire Telly. I did 10 episodes of EastEnders. I did a film about the early life of Julius Caesar. I did a film about the early life of the rise of Hitler. Called, I did 2 seasons with the Royal Shakespeare Company. One where I did was in Henry. They did all the history plays, and I was in Henry VI, Part 1, 2, and 3, and Richard III. And then I did another season where I did some other plays. I did a theatre version of His Dark Materials. I did To Kill a Mockingbird in Regent's Park. I did 12 Angry Men in the West End. I did an adaptation of Middlemarch at the Orange Tree in Richmond. I did The History Boys on tour. I did The Verdict in the West End. And I mean, horribly, because of COVID, and I've not actually earned any money as an actor since October 2019. so over a year, which is entirely unprecedented. And the last thing I did was an extraordinary job. I did what's called a semi-opera, which was at Opera de Lille in France. And I was in a thing called The Indian Queen, with the script written by Dryden and all the music by Purcell, which was an amazing, you know what operas are like, you know, it was amazing, wacky, crazy European production, which I absolutely loved. But that's the last work that I've done up till now. There's talk of bringing it back in 2023, by which time I'll be 76, but which hopefully will happen. And I've done a fair bit of directing work as well. I did mostly with students. I've been to Connecticut. I've done stuff at my old drama school, drama center, and I did a production. I formed a production company with some colleagues, and I did an adaptation of a play by Goldoni called Mirandolina, and we called it Dinner at Mirandolina's, and I set it in a restaurant in the 1950s, and it was a musical. I got a friend of mine to write the music, and we set it in this restaurant, and we did a sort of rural tour of it, where the audience ate a 3-course Italian meal as the show was going on around them, which was a big success. And we're trying now next to do something in that sort of territory next year when we can, if we can.
Yeah, that sounds really, really interesting, and I wish you all the best with it. And I hope, obviously, next year is a better year for yourself, and you can kick on and obviously start, you know, earning some money again for acting, because you thoroughly deserve so, because you're fantastic at what you do, Chris. And obviously this year was supposed to be the Goodnight Sweetheart convention, but obviously it was unfortunately postponed. Virtually nearly sold out as well. We had some fantastic guests lined up for it, including yourself. Unfortunately, we have to postpone it to next year, but
yes,
it's still going to go ahead. Are you looking forward to come meeting some Goodnight Sweetheart fans?
I really am. I really genuinely am. It'd be great, you know, just to meet people, shake people out by the hand. We can do about that by then, you know. Eat something, drink something, and, you know, talk. Will you be showing it? Will you be showing clips, or what will you be doing? What's the plan?
So the plan is, it's basically at Poppylands in Great Yarmouth, which is like a World War II themed tea room.
Oh wow!
It's really, really cool. So it's already kind of got that setting of that anyway. So we're gonna have food on, we're gonna have drinks on. We're probably gonna do like either, not fully decided yet, either like a pre-show or an after show, well, after event party where everyone can come and have a couple of drinks then, and if the actors want to stay around and have a couple of drinks, they're more than welcome to as well after the day itself. We're gonna have some live music, some 1940s singers, and it's gonna really, we're really excited and looking forward to doing it. We had everything planned out this year, everything was going smoothly, and then COVID happened. But next year, like, I'm really, really excited to do it, and I'm sure you'll have a fantastic day. We're going to stick on.
I am looking forward to it. I basically sort of, you know, getting the chance to talk to some fans, but also getting back together with some of the cast. You know, I suspect Nick won't be there. I suspect Vic won't be there, but I think the others will be.
We contacted Vic, and he had a few things going on this year, and he said, drop us a message next year, and I'll try and make it. So that was nice of him. David Benson is really up for it. David mentioned to me, maybe and hopefully me and Chris can reenact our tango scene that you did. That's what David said to me. He said hopefully Chris will be up for that. So I said, we'll have to ask and wait and see. But yeah, David's been great. David's up for it, which I thought he was fantastic as Noel Coward. I thought he played a fantastic.
He was very good. He's a very good. His oh god, the name just popped out of my head. From Kenneth Williams.
Yeah.
Yes, he does a fantastic Kenneth Williams. Brilliant. He did a whole show based on that, which actually was in the West End for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely fantastic. We did try and contact Nick's agent, but as you know, it's Nick's Nick, and I know Nick's very personal. He doesn't really do personal appearances. He never has for Only Fools and Horses. So, but you know, we've got a fantastic lineup regardless, and it's going to be a pleasure to meet yourself and the other cast that we've got coming as well. But yeah, I'm really excited for next year. But yeah, those are the questions that the guys have put forward to you. Thank you very much, Chris.
Can I just use this opportunity just to tell you a little bit about my project for next year? That I'm
yes, go ahead.
So basically, it's going to be called, tentatively, it's going to be called Kevin and Janine's Lockdown Macbeth. Okay, and it's about this couple who, driven by Kevin, really want to bring a bit of culture to their friends, and so they decide to do their production of Macbeth in their living room, and then the audience comes in and is in their living room, and they obviously do a very cut down version of Macbeth, and we probably don't do it terribly well, and it's, you know, there's just the two of them playing all the characters, and there's a scene, obviously, I don't know how well you know Macbeth, but there's a scene where there's a banquet, where the ghost of Banquo appears, and that will be the opportunity for the audience to join in. So the audience will be, you know, all the lords and ladies in the banquet, and they will, at that point, hopefully, they will eat their food, which will either be provided or they will bring. And the script, it's very good. It's very funny. So what my plea to anybody listening to this is, look out for it. But also, if any of you have contacts or on a village hall committee or something like that, you know, book us, and, you know, we'll come and do it for you. And I will send you, Callum, I'll send you some copy, you know, about the show that you can put out on the website or whatever. And I'd be really grateful for that.
That is much appreciated. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. I'll post. You send me any information that you've got on it, and I'll post it onto the page and let people know about it. So yeah, that's no problem at all. It sounds fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
It sounds fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it. Have we got like a pipeline when that's going to be in motion?
We were aiming at February, but whether that is going to be possible, I don't know. But also at the moment, we're looking for some grant money from the Arts Council, you know. But what they need is some bookings. So, you know, if anybody out there can say, yeah, we'll have it, you know, just not nothing set in stone, but, you know, if we've got some, you know, some venues where we can say yes to the Arts Council, we've got these people really interested in it, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, like I say, we've got over 22,000 people that follow our page, so that's how many people are going to see this. So I'll also upload this video to YouTube as well, so people can also check it out. So I'll send you the link as well. So if you want to send that to anyone, you're more than welcome to, Chris. But it's been an absolute pleasure. It's an honor. Like I say, I've watched the show for many years and got great joy. You've given my household great joy over the years. We've had some fantastic laughs. So for that, I just want to say thank you, Chris. And yeah, thank you so much for coming out. I'm really looking forward to meeting you next year as well.
Good. Thank you, Callum.
Fantastic. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
And you too.
Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.